You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
All right. Coming up on the end of the week, it is
Mm-hmm.
Thursday. Thank you, everybody who joins us here every day for Mission Log Engage. I'm John Champion.
And I'm Norman Lau. And just to recap for everyone, if you're new to our show, what we do on Engage is we engage with you, our audience, our listeners who have sent us some wonderful comments. And we look through those comments either in email form or in comment form from social media. And we find those that challenge us, compliment us or critique us in a way where we feel like, you know what, it's time to broaden our horizons, explore some of these ideas.
There you go. And, yesterday we had a nice light email about free will. And today
yeah.
we have, just an easy, just something that goes down like water, right? Today, just a nice, simple, light thing about, religion, IDIC, etc.
Is that it? Really?
Easy. Oh, easy.
Okay.
Easy.
All right. Sure.
This is a segment from a longer email from Sarah that actually goes back a little ways, but I feel like it's one of those that, again, we keep everything, we read everything. This is one of those evergreen topics. So, Norman, why don't you take it away with our email from Sarah?
Okay, so after listening to the podcast on Star Trek Generations, I'm watching the movie again and reminded how each time I'm brought to goosebumps, literally and still, by Patrick Stewart's portrayal of Picard's reaction upon learning of Robert and Renee's fate. He doesn't even speak, and it just breaks my heart. I know you speak often of the magnificence of Stewart, and I actually wasn't even going to add to the chorus, but in one of the other podcasts in the final season of TNG, you mentioned how you get a kick out of fan emails on previous episodes, so I thought I'd chime in. Another quick note, I'm a devout Christian, and it saddens me some of the judgmental and hateful feedback you get from others who claim the faith. I rarely agree with y'all on the subject, and the handful of times you land on it, but by no means negatively colors my view of you as individuals, nor my ability to enjoy the podcast and continue listening. I might even go so far as to say that I believe that anyone who does let it affect them negatively isn't truly a Trek fan, nor do they fully understand IDIC/Roddenberry's vision. Looking forward to catching up with the current podcasts. Thanks, guys, truly, for this outlet. There are plenty of people in my life who enjoy Trek well enough, but very few, if really any, who get it. I found the mothership. Thank you, Sarah.
Well, here we are at the mothership. Yes, thank you very much, Sarah. So I like that, going back to an older conversation. And yes, we get emails from people who now say, hey, I just discovered the show and now I've been binging from the beginning. I'm like, that's at this point, as of our recording today, 9.5 going on 10 years, so it's a lot of mission log to catch up on. And yes, can't argue with you there that Patrick Stewart's performances, they hold up so well. And you go back to a moment like that, it's just incredible. Now, this other comment that you have here about some of the negative blowback that we've gotten, believe me, mission log discussions will get criticism from every angle about every topic. It doesn't matter. We're here. We have the privilege, we have the honor of getting behind the mic every week and just having this conversation with each other in the safe space that is our friendship and our ability to just tackle some big ideas. And sometimes those might rankle other people because they're coming at it with a totally different perspective or a totally different background. And I think, Norman, one of the things that we have always tried to do in previous versions of Mission Log, and as we're doing it right now, is to always say that the idea is what is most important. We can have opinions, we can have different experiences, we can have different backgrounds, but the whole point of Mission Log is to figure out what is the idea. And in that respect, there's really no right or wrong answer. It's just saying, like, well, here's what I got out of it. And I think we've always felt very at ease being upfront with our perspectives and our backgrounds and our beliefs, and that's fine too. That's not an area where either of us feel above criticism by any means. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're being fair to the subject matter and then honest and open about ourselves and our approach to that subject matter.
Sure. The interesting thing that, Sarah, thank you for your email. When you bring up IDIC, infinite diversity and infinite combinations, and the Roddenberry vision, there's only one person that knows what that vision is truly, and that was Gene himself.
Hmm.
So everything after that is an interpretation of what we believe Star Trek was and is, based off of the original series from 1966 to 1969, and the influence that Gene himself had on the property and the franchise moving forward, until he wasn't involved as much in, say seasons 2 or 3 of The Next Generation. That was pretty much kind of like the end of his tenure, with directly affecting, a la, say, like, not in a Rick Berman kind of way, Star Trek, right? Because Rick Berman being the heir apparent of Gene Roddenberry's quote unquote vision, moving the franchise forward. So all we can really do are find the storytelling elements in Star Trek and find what are those elements that best represent how humanity is trying to find its best way to move forward in the future. There is an argument out there about we've figured it out, and then there's the other side of the argument where we're still figuring it out. I'm of the camp of we're still figuring it out, because once we do, we become the Q, we become the Metrons, we become the Melkosians, we become Trelane, we become the prophets, we become these entities that know and see all. Once that happens, our story is over. There's no more story to tell, because there's no more struggle. And that's what we're doing right now. We're struggling with the idea through different lenses of humanity, through faith, through non-faith, through science, through non-science. And how do we apply all those different ways of looking through the lens of humanity into the best way of understanding how we're moving forward? And I think that's different for everyone who's interpreting Star Trek in a different way. What we can't lose sight of is embracing those differences, finding those ways that humanity, science, religion, math, all of those elements that make humanity what it is, we can't lose sight of those differences creating the similarities that we need to move forward. That's where we start breaking down boundaries, because conversations like this allow us to understand that. Now, sure, are we going to get criticized for our opinions? Of course we are. That's how humanity works. Either they criticize because they don't understand, out of fear, out of prejudice, out of misunderstanding, out of ignorance, or they criticize because they literally want to have this conversation with us and say, hey, you know what? I have a different way of looking at it. That's IDIC.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny. I've felt many times, because sometimes we'll get an email or a comment that says sort of along the lines of, hey, I listen to the show every week and I disagree with what you say. And it's like, okay, well, that's fine. That's all well and good. Can we be more specific? Because really, the show's not a competition. We're not having a competition of ideas.
It's not a zero-sum game.
Yeah. We're just getting the ideas out there. So then come back and tell us what you think. Come back and tell us if there's a particular idea that inspires you or rankles you or you're struggling with. Let's talk about those. Let's get that out. All out on the table, because when we say that Mission Log is a conversation, that's what we mean. We get to have our part of the conversation every week, and then we get it out there to you. Then it's up to you to go carry on that conversation. Sometimes it comes back to us. Sometimes it's just that thought that you carry around in your head. So, all right, Norman, for anybody who wants to engage with us, where they should find us.
Well, aside from being here, engaging with us here on the Roddenberry Entertainment channel on YouTube, you can always find us and write us at missionlog@roddenberry.com. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at missionlogpod. And remember, just like Sarah's email, which is fantastic, thank you so much for that, we may engage with your comments on the air.